Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly, your destination for all things HCS. I'm your host, ShyWay, once again. And guys, today's episode is not just about Halo. We're going to be talking about Microsoft's other big first person or third person, I guess, franchise, that being Gears of War. Both these franchises at one point were incredibly successful, and they're both incredibly competitive. But recently, things have been changing for both the titles. They don't quite have the same relevance that they used to. So what needs to change? What's the factor? What's the state of esports for both these titles? I brought on the perfect individual to talk about both of these things. That would be Velly from Gears of War. This man is a host of Gears at UGC. He's a host of Gears on the official Gears channel. I'm excited to bring Velly onto the show.
Yo, what is going on, man? It's good to see you again, Alex.
How's it going, dude?
It's going well. We met for the first time for everybody out there. We met for the first time in Toronto. We both had an event. I had Gears, and Alex was there for Call of Duty. When I saw him, I was like, yo, this is the Halo guy. And I got so excited, man. But thanks for having me on.
Man, okay. I got to say, it's always kind of like almost awkward bumping into people that you know online that you see in events. So the first thing I got to say is just thank you so much for going out of your way and being a bro, man. Like you came up, you gave me a high five, you treated me like, you treated me like we had known each other for so long. You're like family, man. I love that. I respect that. That immediately broke the ice. And then like all I wanted to do is just talk to you and catch up and make sure I had you on a future episode. Now, Matt, Velly, one thing I got to say, and this is like unrelated, but I don't know how you prefer the Skype chat. Guys, by the way, Velly, if you don't already know, he hosts. Dude, I'm looking at Skype right now on my screen. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Hopefully, it's good for you. But Velly hosts the UGC Gears of War show on the Flank. You guys got to check that out if you don't check it out already on Twitch.tv. Just keep following UGC. It's on Mondays, right? When does it take place?
Mondays at 8 Eastern.
8 Eastern, and you run Skype chat for your interviews, and we run some other thing like the
website.
Yeah, well, I can't even remember, but it's some random website. But honestly, I'm on Skype, and I don't even know how to explain to you guys what I'm looking at right now. Velly, I see you on the left-hand side of my screen, and then on the right-hand side of my screen, I see me and you on the right-hand side, like half of me and half of you, and it's purple. The color is completely off. It's like constantly changing colors. It's just
that's your computer, man.
That's my computer.
Bugging out.
I don't know. We're going to have to, we'll figure it out next time. But regardless, it doesn't matter what I see. It's what you guys, the viewers, see, as long as it looks good on your end. But man, you have accomplished a lot in Gears of War. You're a desk analyst. I got to say, I'm jealous. I would love to be like a desk host, an analyst, and casting. So how did you get into everything? Because I know you're a big Halo fan as well. You used to love Halo. Where did it all begin for you? How did you get into what you're doing now?
Okay, so it all began for me when I first got my Xbox. I got Halo 1 with it. Everybody knows that Christmas. When Xbox came out, we all got Halo 1 with it. No idea what Halo was. Never saw a commercial. Played the hell out of it. And I was a hardcore Rainbow Six and Halo player when it came to online. But then when Gears of War came out, Gears of War captured my heart. Gears 1. And I never looked back. Never looked back. I came back to Halo 3. And it's a funny story. If they're watching, I swear I'm not lying. Look at Ace's montage and it will prove this for real. Really? I actually scrimmed with Flame Sword. And I actually told him I wanted to stick to Gears of War. Dumbest decision I've ever made in my life. But yeah, so
you had that experience with some of the best players. And
yes, I did. Yeah. Washi sent me a friend request one time. It was crazy. Yeah. And so for people out there are like, oh, he's full of shit. Ghost Ayami was my Gears of War coach. Okay. So it all worked out that way. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been playing Gears of War. I was a professional gamer back in 07 and 08. I've hung around the scene, and now I'm a host. I know so much about the game and the players, and it just feels natural being up there. I love it.
You say that's what you prefer in the end of the day is just being up there as a host. It's like you're beyond the games now. Are you still gaming every day? Because I'm torn between both. I am gaming constantly. It's hard to stop gaming and also be a host. And the more you game and the more you like analyze these games, you have a high expectation for yourself because you're constantly watching the best players play. So I'll game and I'll get tilted so often because I'm like, why am I not a god yet? You know, like what's going on, man? So I feel you where it's like in the end, you know, we have our specialties. And I think, you know, being a host, being an analyst, it just feels right. I just wish I could do both, you know?
I'm learning right now, man. It sucks because being a professional gamer and playing competitively for a decade, you can't play games casually anymore. Like I have to compete. There's times where I go to events to host or cast, and I sit there and I say, damn, I want to play. It hurts, man, but I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
You watch hype games and you want to be able to play, like just jump on. That's why I always bring a controller, dude. I always am ready to go
No
in case
shot.
it's enough. Dude, no, you have to. You have to. I bring an Xbox controller and I bring a GameCube controller because there's always Melee at every
Smash.
event that I go to. Some Smash Melee, dude.
Yes.
You gotta play
The
it.
fact
So
that you said Melee over the others, I love you. We're best friends from now on.
yeah, I mean, for Melee, I'm a hardcore purist. For Halo,
Yeah.
it's an interesting story. A lot's been happening. That's what we're going to talk about as well. I think it conveniently brings us in here. So I used to be a Gears guy as well.
Okay.
And one thing I got to say is that first experience with Gears of War it was unlike anything else. Like Gears of War it's in its own category. It's like it paved the way for, just like how Halo 1 paved the way for first person shooters, like twin stick first person shooters. There was like nothing at the time that was quite like Halo.
Right.
With Gears of War, there was not a cover based shooter that was in any way similar to Gears of War. It was light years ahead of its time. It was so gritty, so brutal. There was a chainsaw on your gun. So I used to be a huge Gears guy.
Bodies
But one thing about bodies explode. And one thing about Gears though is while it was popular, it never really had the same popularity as Halo. Like Halo was always kind of the star of the show, especially in the esports events. Like everybody was looking at Halo. Gears wasn't quite as large, but recently things have been changing. If you guys go and you check the Twitch VODs, I'm sure a lot of Halo fans have been noticing this as well. Is Halo has under the viewership of Gears of War. Gears of War's average viewership is trumping Halo in every single event. Even the 2Ks and the individual streamers are getting pretty great viewership. I mean, in comparison to Halo. So I'm wondering what's going on there. Is it the fact that like competitive Halo is kind of been lacking? Because I think that might be part of it, because we're kind of on the out as far as Halo 5 goes. We're in the middle of 2. We're moving over to Halo 3, so competitive's on a hiatus. Or is Gears doing something right? Like, is Gears on an incline, or is it on a decline? What do you think of Gears esports right now?
You know what it is? It's quite simple, man. So Gears of War, it has its own niche. There's no other third-person shooter competitively out there, especially a game that's as gory as Gears of War. So Gears of War is going to have that strong fan base. So we get 20,000 plus every major event. But at our highest end, we reached 60,000, and that was at the New Orleans event with Halo. I watch Halo because Halo is still in my heart. I feel like Halo's in a weird scenario. Whenever we talk about viewership, we're gonna have to look at the facts. Halo really gameplay wise, mechanically, is not what it used to be. And so a lot of players have moved on to other games like Call of Duty. And so the viewership that Halo used to have when Halo was the king of console is now starting to shift towards Call of Duty because that's where it's at. But I have to give a shout out to the people that are still sticking around and playing Halo, because you never know how big the next game is going to be.
Yeah. So you're saying it's like Gears seems to maintain its own individual identity that hasn't really changed over time, but Halo's identity is a little more ambiguous these days to people who are on the outside. So would you say then Gears is kind of on the upswing right now? Are things looking good for Gears esports? I'm sure there's a lot that can be done, right? Because that's kind of the theme that we're going to go over. Yeah.
Gears is kind of on the upswing because it's coming towards the end of Gears 4. So things are starting to slow down just a little. You're starting to notice it. But the viewership is still remaining consistent with what we're used to. And, we're like Halo, the game is done now. The new game is going to be coming out soon. So things are starting to slow down. But
we have no idea when the next game is coming out.
Halo Infinite is going to come out in 5 years from now. So who knows? Tupac might come back when Halo comes back. So hey.
All right. So now we're just telling lies to the people. Yeah. So yeah, that kind of makes me think about today's theme for the discussion is I wanted to talk about both these franchises. Both of these franchises, the biggest franchises for first-party franchises for Xbox, and they both had huge popularity at one point, but now they don't quite have that. So let's talk a bit about this state of these games and what can we do? What do these games need, I guess, to propel them into success in the future with the future titles? We've got Gears 5, we've got Halo Infinite on the horizon. Yeah. So the first thing I want to just knock out of the way, because I feel like this is the most no-brainer thing that these titles need to reach out to these audiences is they need to be on PC. It needs PC integration. So the first category I have is accessibility. The more accessible the game is to play, the more people will play it, and the more popularity inevitably, right? So Gears is already kind of on PC, though. How does that work? Has that helped Gears at all, would you say?
I would say no, to be quite honest. Competitively, no. It is not that. PC can help with most games, but I feel like in order for Halo to get help, you're gonna have to look at what's happening right now. You're gonna have to take a look at everything that's happening all around you. And Gears of War has been dealing with the same thing. So Gears 1, slightly different than Gears 2, drastically different than Gears 3, another game compared to Gears 4. So we have had people come and go in between these titles because it's not the same and it's not what they liked. That's the reason why I didn't play in Gears 2. And take a look at Halo. The switch from Halo 1 to 2 wasn't bad at all. You know, the fundamentals were there. Halo 3, fundamentals were there, you know, but when you get past that, Halo Reach, Halo 5, the boost and everything, it's not the same. So when that happens, you start to kill off your loyal fan base that's been there since day one. And when you lose that fan base, it's going to be hard to regain other fans as an FPS and console when you're competing with Call of Duty. So the object is to really hold on to the people that's been there forever, that's been holding Halo down when Halo was the king of gaming. So what happens? UGC, shout out to UGC, the GOAT. They brought back Halo 3. Halo 3 has been booming lately. My timeline on Twitter, all you see are Halo 3 clips. You see the pros talking about it. The legends are coming back. Flamesword coming out with an optic Halo team. Like, Halo's back now. So when you're a developer, it's cool to add in, you know, your twist to Halo and Gears of War and whatnot, but don't you dare change the fundamentals of the game that made people fall in love with it. Because once you do that, you destroy your loyal fan base, and it's going to be hard to recoup from that when you're competing against, you know, Call of Duty.
Right. So many things I need to say now that, okay, first of all, UGC, shout outs to UGC. By the way, guys, I didn't even say it in the beginning of the video, but we're giving away a free pass to the Halo 3 4v4 at the end of this stream here. So stick around, guys. There it is. There's the graphic. I totally missed it. My bad, Tony. But guys, this is a big deal, okay? If you're watching right now, you're participating in the discussion. Thank you for being a part of this, but also know that you have an opportunity to win a pass at the end of the show. All you got to do is stick around. I'm going to give out the code, and you can enter it in, and you can grab yourself a free pass to what looks like the hottest Halo event we've seen in years right now. I mean,
it is.
Velly's already talking about it. Everybody's talking about it on Twitter. We've got, are we at 128? I think we're at 128. If not, we're like right almost there.
That's insane.
Yeah, look at that. You can see that on screen right there. So we've got more passes sold than any HCS event. This is amazing. Now, as far as how things have changed from game to game, now I agree with you in some ways, but also you're kind of getting ahead of me a little bit too. I want to talk about that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the gameplay. Well, first I just wanted to kind of look at, like, because PC, Gears is on PC, right? But people aren't really playing it competitively on PC. Is it hard to play Gears on PC? Is it just like not ideal? Have you? Is that
it's
like
way easier?
It's easier. So, but people just aren't playing it. Is it like the Windows Store? Is that what's limiting things? Because I know that it's only on the Windows Store. It's part of like a Play Anywhere program. But like people are using Steam. People are using other, you know, areas as far as like playing games. They're using other programs. So is that what's limiting the audience? Because you think like expanding it over to PC, more people would play it, and then Halo should adopt that mentality. Halo should be on PC. But is it because of the Windows Store? Is it like what is it about the Gears PC inclusion that didn't really give it like the kick that we were looking for? Is what I was asking first.
In regards to competitive, because I can't speak about overall, activity of Gears PC. It's just the culture. The culture created for Gears competitively has always been console. So when you try to bring that culture to a new platform, it's gonna be quite hard. Gears 1 PC had, some clans here and there, but it's not the norm. And if it's not the norm, it's gonna be hard to grow that in a grassroots type of environment. And Gears is like. Gears 4 and UE was kind of grassrooty when it came to the competitive scene. So just coming off to something new is going to be quite difficult. It's like you doing this show for a year straight, and all of a sudden you want to do it on Mixer under another name. You're not going to get the same viewership as the last show, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it makes me think like, so you're totally right. There's a culture, there's a scene that's built up specifically on consoles. So when it goes on to PC, it doesn't everybody's on console. Even the PC players playing it are like, oh, this is a console game. Like, I don't really feel almost like, not part of that community. But maybe that means that there needs to be a mode or something implemented in the game that's more specific to PC gamers. For example, Call of Duty they hit this perfectly because Call of Duty is competitive on console, but Blackout, the big open world or the battle royale mode is popping off on PC.
Yeah.
It's almost as if it was designed for PC players to play it. So maybe it's like not only does it need to be on PC, but maybe Gears needs a mode and Halo needs a mode that includes the PC community and says, hey, this is where you guys can play and enjoy this game, and the competitive console side still exists. Still, right. So now I'm wondering, like, maybe Gears needs something, because I think Halo, we already talked about this, Halo would benefit from having a Battle Royale mode, assuming that mode doesn't retract from the other core modes. How sick would a Battle Royale be in Halo 5 if they got the lore right and they introduced, like, there's so much happening.
Dodging 4 shots everywhere.
Well, yeah,
that'd be fun.
Balancing, it would be fun. Balancing would be a little weird too if you just 4-shot people. Like, I don't know how, but I mean, even in Fortnite, people drop quick, like it's it's all about getting things right. But I think that's the biggest thing is like inclusion on PC that needs to be there. Accessibility is so important, but also there needs to be something in the game that says, hey, this was built with PC in mind. We didn't just throw it over. This is for everybody on all of these platforms. So a battle royale mode, I don't know how that would work in Gears. I haven't even considered that.
In Gears, I don't know, free for all maybe, but Halo, it would be kick-ass. It would be kick-ass. Halo.
I think there's no denying that it would be kick-ass. So now we get into gameplay, okay? So gameplay, you kind of touched on this. If it ain't broke, don't fix it versus change with the objective of innovation and evolve. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it versus change, innovate, and evolve, right? So what do we need to see here? Because I personally, looking into Gears, I would say that they've adopted more of an if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality in their approach to these titles. Like, yes, things have changed. And you would say they're wildly different. And in some ways, I'm sure, like if they had the new melee system where you like mantle over cover, you kick the guy, you can stab him. Nobody really does that, though, I don't think.
Those are the small things.
Right.
Move. We battle with Halo battles though. We go through the same fight that the OG Halo guys are fighting right now. Just movement, so just speed of the game and all.
Right. So you think is it like slow or is it too fast?
It's gotten too fast. Games are
really.
I want to call it the Call of Duty effect because about 8 years ago, there's even articles about it from PC developers where they're saying that, the Call of Duty effect has ruined some games now and shooters because a lot of developers, PC and console, they're starting to speed up gameplay and make it faster and just this wildly crazy casual because they think that it appeals to a wide audience like Call of Duty does. But Call of Duty is the only Call of Duty out there. But when you try to take Halo and speed things up, it's going to make people like, Walshy and them say, hey, why is he turbo boosting away from a 4-shot? Like, that's not real. And in Gears of War, if I catch you out of position and I'm gonna punish you by taking you down in 2 shots, you're able to speed out of here while bouncing like a little crackhead, then you sit there like, dude, like you made a mistake. Why are you rewarded for it? So that's just the mechanics and the speed of the game. Definitely has sped up for both series.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I totally see where you're coming from. But when I played Gears, one of the biggest things that I loved about Gears was the wall bounce. Like that was kind of how I was able to be to individualize myself as a gamer. In Gears 3, it had something called the hyper bounce. If you guys don't know, you could bounce so insanely fast. There was no cap on the speed. As fast as you press that A button, you could continue bouncing. So you would hyper bounce, you'd go circles around people. And that was what was exciting for me. So when Gears 4 came around and they had the invisible cooldown on the bounce, I couldn't get into it. I ended up jumping ship and getting more into Halo because I don't know. I just felt like Gears didn't really have like what was exciting about me. I love movement. I love fast, high speed movement in games. So it's interesting when you say that it's like, okay, well, if a player makes a mistake, they deserve to be punished for that mistake. Right. Yeah. But it's like, you're correct. But at the same time, there's like when you have fast games, they add this extra layer where it's like, yes, you deserve to be punished. But if that player is so insanely good at the mechanics, if they can level up like Super Saiyan power level over 9,000, they can escape a situation where they probably should have died, but only if they're really good. You know what I mean? That's what I think is exciting because I think like Melee, for example, which you were saying is a game that everybody they absolutely love it. That's the game in Smash Bros. It's insane movement. You can make like, yes, Melee, you get punished so hard for every little mistake that you make, but it's like Melee, if you're so incredibly technical, sometimes you can get out of situations that you shouldn't like realistically get out of. Like with Fox, if you shine enough times and hit that nair at the right time, then you break out of a situation that you might not have been able to just because you're just so technical in that one moment. But yes, you still get punished for you. So I think there's like kind of a balance of the two where they can't go too far. They can't stray too far away from what makes that game what it is. But having those elements is exciting too, because it pushes people to I guess go past their limits and really takes a focus on individual skill in those crucial moments rather than like a chess game where it's like, oh, I was right here, I get the kill, you die.
Yeah,
you know?
I like the chess game though. So I mean, there's different strokes for different folks. And that's why I like the sort of gameplay, because it actually encourages people to think. Woody in the chat, he said, take a look at Mikwin's flag run clip. I saw it about 30 times today.
So sick.
None of that would have ever happened if we were able to boost out of the way. Like, it wouldn't have happened. It would have been difficult. Would have been crazy.
Yeah, what's actually kind of cool about Mikwin's clip, and it would be cool if we could play it. Tony, I don't know if you're able to find it and throw it up. I think that'd be awesome. But oh, you don't have it. Damn. Okay. One thing about the clip that I thought was really cool is he was taking advantage of the ceiling above him on that base to purposely bounce his head off the roof so he could fall faster. Those are little nuances that I love in games, and I think like those little things that he takes advantage of, the crouch jump to get up there, bouncing his head off the roof, falling down just a little bit more quickly so he's harder to get hit, and then he lands the shots that he needs to land. And then even like every single movement with the flag, he dropped the flag on the first jump. He dropped it at the edge purposefully so that he could pick it up at full movement speed and take a full movement speed jump to cross that first like chasm to top mid. He needed that full movement speed. You can't just have flag movement speed and cross those jumps easily. So it was cool how he was able to play with the two. And those are little mechanics. You're right. Even with a game like classic style Halo, there are elements of depth there. There are elements of like precision, and you need to be very fast. You need to be very quick. So it happens. And I like that. So I'm saying it's kind of hard to find a balance where can you have a little bit more though? You know what I mean? Because that's what these companies are trying to do. They're trying to innovate. They're trying to change things to keep up with what the expectations are today. Like you said, everybody wants to be really fast. Everybody expects gameplay to be really crazy, but then that takes away from strategy. It takes away from,
100%
understandable. So it's so hard to find that balance, right? I think that Halo 5 did take it too far, because I think that if you look at it from the perspective of an outsider, somebody who knew Halo, back in the day, they come back and they see Halo 5. There's so much going on, especially when they had the ground pound, the Spartan charge. It's just it's too much. It's happening too fast. So I get that, but I feel like that evolving and innovating in ways still needs to happen. I just this is why I always hit a wall with this conversation, because I never know. Like, I feel like there's a gray area in between where like you can't just take Halo 3. Like, Halo 3 is still exciting, and the reason why it's so popular right now and it's popping off is because it was an amazing game. It was popular at one point. But if you take a new Halo and it's exactly the same as Halo 3, would it succeed in the same way, do you think? I don't know. Like, in a modern audience?
1,000,000%. I personally think Halo 2 is a better game, but Halo 3 is doing better than Halo. Is doing better than the current Halo at the moment, and that speaks wonders.
I mean, yes. At the same time, Halo
125 team passes. You can't overlook that.
You can't. Yeah. I mean, it's coming from an era where Halo was the most popular title, right? So like when Halo 3 had more clout than any other Halo game and had more recognition. So when that's back on the map, you have people who are OG gamers who have stopped gaming for years who are like, oh, now I want to play video games again. Like, I want to play Halo again. So I can see why it's picking up that traction.
You know what it is? Less random factors. Which is just beautiful. Both of our games have random factors right now that takes away. When you really slow things down, you're able to really think things out, and individual skill really shows when a game is slower. There's a story in fights, if we're actually strafing and, you get the first shot on me, but I use that strafe. I have a style that I can bring to you that people can digest because it's slower. It makes a difference, when you watch, Ogre 2 do some stuff like that. It's insanely fun to watch, but if Ogre 2 is in a fight and people are dashing left and right, it takes away from the story of the fight, the skill of actually strafing something simple that can be mastered on a high level like T2 did back in the days. I just feel like there's a story with slower games, and you can't force fast on everything. It's good on most games because I love Melee. It's my favorite game to watch competitively. But on some games, you got to kind of stick to your basics.
Yeah. Interesting. One thing you're saying about randomness, like, yeah, definitely removing randomness is one of the biggest things that you want to like not have in esports.
Yeah.
Which does make me think the one thing that I hate about Halo 3, and I'm sure a lot of people can agree, is the spawns are super random at times. It's not even randomness, it's just the spawns are so heavily weighted on teammates that players just spawn on top of each other. And so, like, later we're gonna have Ace on the show, and I'm so excited to have him on. And he hit this amazing clip, like almost back-to-back overkills, just destroying people. And a lot of it had to do with spawn influence, because he'd kill a guy, and then because that guy was there, he influenced a spawn like right beside him, and then he just got first shots on the next guy, and he carried it over. I mean, it takes a lot of skill to get it, but the spawns is the one weird thing that would definitely need to change. And that can't be random. That needs to make sense as well too. But it does play into the aspect of like making mistakes getting punished. Like Halo 3, even with those spawns, if you hold your position and you know the fact that they're spawning in that location, you just continue to like relentlessly beat on them until they break out. So that kind of worked out for Halo 3 as well. I don't know. I just think that, yeah, this whole if it ain't broke, don't fix it versus changing and evolving. I think that, yes, it does have to maintain majority of what made it what it is, but things do need to change. Things do need to change.
But you know what makes it hard? What makes it hard is that, like, you obviously love the new Halo.
I love Halo 5, dude. Yeah,
you love the new Halo. And
I'm coming off of Smash Melee. I played the shit out of this game. I'm not, you know.
And I can't hate you for that.
Yeah.
I can't hate you for that. I can't tell you, yo, your game is stupid, but it's not my preference. So when games change drastically, which can be a mistake and also a blessing for developers unless they find a medium, if they find a medium, is that you have these two separate audiences now. Yeah, that splits the game up. And then that's what causes these arguments and makes it harder on the developers. You're going to have to really come together. Gears 2 was a perfect mixture of every Gears. And, you know, a lot of people are hoping for that. If Halo can find a happy medium, that'd be beautiful. Take away any boost abilities, you know, all of that. Bring it back to the basics. Speed it up a little bit. Halo 3 strafing is a little slow. You know, Halo 2 was a little bit faster. You know, I'm okay with that. Just bring back the basics. No random factors. None of the boost. None of the extra stuff. Bring back the BR. And let's get the game going. That'd be a beautiful game.
Definitely agree with finding a happy medium. I'm gonna leave it at let's find a happy medium. I'm not gonna dig into the randomness and the no boost and stuff, but yeah, I do think I think whatever can bridge the two communities together, because I completely agree. At this point, we have two communities. We have the Halo 3 and we have the Halo 5 community, and that is kind of exacerbated by some tweets that I've been seeing online and stuff too. Tony, I don't know if you grabbed the tweet, the Towie tweet. Did you grab that?
Oh boy,
you tell me. Guys, I'm so sorry.
Slacking.
No, if you guys know, like Towie, he put up a tweet at one point where he was talking about the fact that like it feels like a chore to play Halo 5. Like it feels like a job. When he was grinding, he would burn out. But with Halo 3, he could play 6+ hours and he loved it every second. He's like, it's not nostalgia. They're just better games. And like, I get it, man. Like Halo 3 is an awesome game, but I don't like that type of terminology when you say they're just better. When you separate the two audiences, like you're putting Halo 3 against Halo 5, and you're an individual who's in a position of power, and you're growing a community here. I don't like that. I feel like there's got to be a way that we can integrate both. They're part of a broader franchise. They're part of Halo, and Halo as a franchise is amazing. You know, like I don't know, something about it. There it is. Yeah, it's not nostalgia. H1, H2, H3, aka classic Halo is just better. Like, that bothers me, man. Like because then it gives way for the classic fan, like the bandwagoners who haven't been following Halo since they stopped in like Halo 3 or whatever, to just come back and be like, haha, Halo 5 sucks, you're trash. Like everybody who played this game is terrible. Go play Call of Duty, go play something else, and we're gonna play classic. Like I don't know. I just think it's the wrong kind of mindset. It breeds negativity in a community that doesn't need that. I feel like there's got to be a way that we can appreciate Halo overall as a franchise.
You know what though?
I don't know.
I was in his position, but I was 10 times worse in Gears of War. I was Miquin in Gears of War. And it sucks because Miquin has been around since the beginning. He's seen the older Halos. He grew up on that Halo. And he's watching his game plummet in viewership. He's watching his game get, a certain amount of viewers that he's not used to. And he's like, where do we go wrong? I know. The Halo pros work with the developers. And the game came out drastically different, and they don't like that. So him being able to voice his opinion, it has to happen, because if he doesn't, the developer is going to. Oh, Towie. I'm sorry, Towie.
Yeah, no
sorry, my mind are on different things right now. But if you don't say anything, the game is going to keep going on the route that it is. And the developers are, now that they have this new community playing Halo 5 because the old community isn't playing, the input are only coming from the new guys that like the new game that's not doing as good as the older games. So if you're somebody that's coming from the past, you're going to have to speak up and let them know what's wrong with the game and correct those changes. I see Ace in the chat. What's up, Ace?
What's up?
But yeah, I don't think what he did was a bad thing. It's hard to voice your opinion. There's only so many channels you can go through. And if you're not changing the game, you're going to have to speak up for what you love.
Right. No, I agree with speaking up for what you love. So that's fair too. It's just I hate seeing divides in the same community for the same games, but yeah, I get where you're coming from. And that's the thing too, is like Halo for a very long time, it fumbled. Like Halo Reach introduced armor abilities and that completely disrupted the balance of the game, right? And then Halo 4, it continued, like it was ordnance drops. Like that's the biggest thing, is if it's not competitively balanced, if it doesn't work, like if it's not balanced, it completely ruins the game from an esports perspective. So you can't fight that stuff. Like they fumbled for so long, but now finally in this like late iteration of Halo 5, I'd say it's pretty well balanced. It's very hyper competitive. So that's why it's like, I guess that's the only thing that I'm seeing is like, this deserves to be appreciated. This aspect of this very balanced competitive Halo 5 deserves to be appreciated. But they fumbled for so long to get to this point that I can understand the perspective of somebody who was like, Halo 3 is so amazing and like so it's tough because that's kind of what I'm fighting for, is just that there is a competitive game here that's awesome. That's worth something that they could build into like a future Halo that could be amazing, that could bridge the gap between the communities. I just, I'm seeing an opportunity here. It's just, it took they had to plow their way through a lot of mistakes.
But it's like they still have to correct these mistakes. We don't want sprint. Like we want, the same consistent speed throughout the game. And like Ace said in the chat, like there doesn't have to be two split communities. If the game doesn't change drastically, then we all love the same game. But the developers, they want to, change things to, be special. And then you end up with, two separate communities. But be happy that you have two separate communities, because in Gears of War, we have like 3. So
do you? What's that like in Gears?
Oh, man, it's hard. It's hard trying to find a happy medium. And, we say the same things. But, at the end of the day, we all want what's best for the game. And if we don't speak up about it, then it's going to be overlooked. So, shout out to Towie for, saying what he had to say.
Hey, all right. Take it and flip it and turn it on its head. I'm like, this bothers me, and you're like, nah, shout out to Towie. Damn it, I can't get any wins today. Okay.
Listen, it's fine, man. It's fine. I love the fact that you're able to talk about this without, name calling or just being just like your game is stupid. Like actual discussions like this helps the game.
I just hate the unnecessary. I hate negativity that isn't fueled with knowledge. Like when people don't understand something and they automatically dismiss it. That's what bothers me. Like yes, they're right about the fact that Halo's been through some crap, but like we've gotten to the point where like anyway, I've stressed this enough times.
It's fine, Alex. It's fine.
There's one other thing. So esports settings was like the next thing that I wanted to talk about with this, and it's that there's a different mode in Gears of War. There's like a core competitive mode where the weapons are balanced differently than the rest of the game. Do you think that's something that should be in Gears? Like, does that split the community within the game, or is that a good thing? Do you think?
When I told you 3 separate communities, we have the old school community, the new school community, and then we have the casual core community. For those of you that don't play Gears of War, we have core and competitive. The weapon balances are completely different on both game modes. Like the shotgun will hit harder on one game mode at a longer distance than the other one. The Lancer acts completely different than it would on competitive. And what you do is you make things difficult, because if you're a casual guy and you're watching the game and you're like, yo, like, why is this shotgun shoot like that? Like, I don't get it. I don't like it. It turns them off. If you present them one game, then it's fine.
Is it so drastically different that like a casual coming in can recognize the differences in the shotty when they see somebody fight? Like, really?
Yeah.
Damn. Because I was starting to think like maybe this is a good thing, because in the end of the day, like you need a game that's accessible for a broader audience. But when it comes to esports, when it comes to competitive play, this is serious. This is like the most, authentically competitive, well-balanced version of that game, in making it like almost deserve its own mode. It's like whatever happens in the esports mode, it's like that's a blank slate. Like that's them listening to the pro players and finding the most balanced, most competitive version of that game. And that's the esports mode. And if you want to be a part of it, deal with it. You know what I mean? Enter that mode and learn the settings and get there, because that's what it takes to compete and to be a master. Otherwise, outside of it, you can be a casual and you can play with the casual settings. And then you might be able to have a Halo game that has abilities, but then it has a core mode where things are different. Things are like specifically, it's a communication between the pros and the developers, and like, this is the mode. And if you want to be competitive, this is just what you got to adapt to. You know what I mean?
So this is the problem. This is the problem. All right. So what if you're a core player and you've been playing core since launch? You are the best. You are the damn best at the game. Nobody can touch you. Like, that's your shit. And then, sorry, I'm clean it up. But imagine you doing that, and then you say, you know what? I want to compete against these guys. I want to go competitive. You say that because you're the best now. You go to competitive, and you're like, this is the same game I've been playing.
Okay, but where have you been?
I don't like this.
This person's living under a rock, though. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if you want to compete in Gears, you can't just. You have to know that the competitive mode, like, this is something that needs to be advertised from the get-go. It's like, this is the competitive mode. How do you not know?
Because there's different game modes within both. So
no, I know,
what
but
if
like one of them is advertised as the competitive, like, esports mode. Let's say, like, this is the mode. Like, if you want to be anything in competitive play, this is what you got to play. This is where you go. You know what I mean? So like, it makes me wonder why you would.
It's different though. And then when you go to that competitive mode, you're gonna be like, I'm not used to this. Let's go back and play dodgeball. On settings that I'm used to. And then that's it. You just lost a competitive player. So that's why having one type of tuning for that is going to be key. Because when you look at the top games out there, Rainbow Six doesn't have an easy mode. Counter-Strike doesn't have an easy mode.
Built it's just multiplayer. It's just built for esports. That's the beauty of Rainbow Six. It's the whole game. Like the whole game is that.
Yeah, it's been like that since
it's slimmer now, right? Because it used to have a campaign, it used to have other elements, and now it's just like, here's slimmed down competitive multiplayer, which makes me think, like, with Halo, I've heard rumors that they want to make one game, like a multiplayer focused game, and a campaign focused game, like split the two titles completely, which I think might almost be a good idea, because you kind of need that. You need like one that's just specifically focused on the best possible multiplayer that maybe doesn't need all the advanced mechanics or whatever. And then you have the campaign that's more advanced, like just more about the world and building the atmosphere and the lore and whatever. Maybe you can have more there. Maybe they're like two different.
Rainbow. When I go on Rainbow, there's not an easy mode. Call of Duty, Counter-Strike. You take a look at League of Legends, Dota. Every top esport out there, they have one game mode. And if you're that good at it, then tough. But there's one game mode. You're not going to have to adjust between two different types of settings. And that's pretty much it. That's the way it should be. I feel like once you take away from that, you take away from the core of the game. You don't know what the core of the game actually is. That's when you start to lose what the heart of the game comes from. Because you have two different types of settings. And it's like, what do the people really love? There's no soul to it because everything's just different.
Okay, Velly.
I'm stopping myself from going on.
You're not wrong.
This is emotional for me.
And I completely agree, and I respect that, because I think in the end of the day, this is just we're just two guys having an emotional conversation about what we love in esports and Halo and gaming. That's true. I just want to get your opinions out there, and I respect the fact that we have conflicting views on this stuff. That's great. That builds discussion. Yeah. That builds. I hope you guys in the chat are saying stuff. I'm not looking at it, unfortunately. One thing I will say that I think we can both agree on. I'm like 99% sure we're going to both agree on this.
Let's see.
Is the music, the art, and the atmosphere. Okay? Like, that's one thing that needs to hold true throughout the franchise. The way the game looks, the atmosphere, the music, the art, like having the Halo Infinite trailer go back to the classic style of Halo art, the classic Chief, and the music, like that's Halo. That immediately screams Halo. That's like, I'm walking down a mall and it's on the TV and I'm like, oh, that's Halo. I'm not thinking like, oh, that might be Destiny or Overwatch or Call of Duty. That's Halo. You know what I mean? So the art, the atmosphere, it has to like live and breathe that classic title, and it maintains that throughout the franchise. Like, that's one thing I think Gears has had. Like, Gears 1, the first one was gritty. It was a horror shooter. Right? It was like scary. Dark. Right. Yeah. It was dark. It kind of got a little brighter. And I don't know, what do you think? It needs to get a little more dark, right?
I like the dark look, but they came out with the trailer, and the developers, they they have Twitter, they interact with us all the time. And they know that we like that dark and grittiness because that's what makes the game special. So the trailer for the new Gears is actually extremely dark and it's beautiful. I'm excited to see, what comes from it. But Halo, going back to the old school look, it's gonna be hard to really. has the look of Halo drastically changed, really? Can you mess that up?
It's I think it's the inclusion of like the Prometheans and like the Forerunner architecture, like the
Okay.
Promethean
Okay.
race. Like first of all, and this is a whole other subject, I just don't find them as fun to fight against as the Covenant, but they
I
brought
agree.
a whole different look and style to the game that was more
The
like
futuristic
a
tech piece.
futuristic, like a
Yeah.
platinum kind of like like a lot of silvers and like, and I felt like
Yeah.
Halo, the classic Halo was more just like greenery and like lush open
It's
world and space. And,
colorful and
right,
beautiful. I
colorful,
love
and
it.
they have like these aliens, these foreign creatures, and like something about
Yeah.
the Prometheus. It almost feels like you're fighting robots. It's like it's a weird distinction.
Basically,
So
yeah.
yeah, so that's the thing is like kind of getting it back to what looks and feels authentically like Halo. Same type of thing with Gears. I think that it needs to immediately that's a striking thing. Is like you see it on the TV, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
that's. Last thing. Okay, now this is the last thing, and this is what Gears is doing in spades. All right,
Yeah.
community, personality, rivalry. Gears has trash talk. Okay, Gears has trash talk like I've never seen in any community in any game ever. The trash talk is insane. Tony, I know we're on a tight schedule. Ace, if you're still in the chat, man, I'm so sorry. This is
We're
the last
sorry,
thing
Ace.
to talk about. I'm going to switch over to you, man. I'm looking forward to talking to you. But okay, so can we roll that clip with the trash talk from Explosive? Explosive. Do you have it? There it is.
Oh, 5-5.
Is this it?
Oh, here it goes. This is what I want. Sorry.
I want the audio. I can hear it.
I can't beat you. How many chips you have? How many chips do you have? How many
There we go.
chips do you have? How many chips do you have? You pussy. What's up? Yo, you winning this? You winning this match? Put 2K on it. Put your bank account on it. Yeah.
Put your bank account up.
Explosive, man.
Yeah, dude, that's he's a maniac. So what's up with that?
is.
When did that start? And why is that? It's in Gears. It's like there's no rules. What's up with that?
It's the culture, man. When we talk about the culture of games, you can't
Yeah.
switch it out. You just, you have to have rules in line you can't cross. But back then, let me just paint this picture for everybody out there. I played in an era where we had Nick Merckx, CDN, High Distortion. We had Cloud. He works on Fortnite. All these big names in gaming right now came from Gears 1. And after games, this was before Party Chat came out. After rounds, we were able to trash talk for 10 seconds and be like, oh, you suck, and go into the next round.
Yeah.
So that carried over from online to actual LAN events. And LAN events was fun. I talked about people's moms and stuff in between rounds. And it's really just the culture of Gears, and it's beautiful. Because of that, it's helped Gears find its place in esports big time.
Yeah.
And it came to a point where after the best interview in esports post game I've ever heard, which was Optic Praise, basically calling everybody on Echo Fox trash and just dogging them in the worst way possible. We shot up to like from 25 to 60,000 viewers. 60,000 viewers. And it's so important that these vibrant personalities within your game actually come out there. In Halo, we had T-Squared and all of them, and they were polarizing figures. I wanted to know everything about Walshy. I wanted to know everything about T-Squared and Karma. You know what I'm saying? So in our game, they need to do better doing that. They're starting to do it more. Halo, I want to see more. I want to build a connection with one of these pros like I had whenever I watched Walshy on screen. Gosayami is my boy, and I look at him as a hero still. Personalities are so important.
Right. No, I completely agree. Like that's one thing you can't deny. It's crazy. It really does breed viewership for Gears of War. Like that Twitter clip alone, I think it had like 20,000 likes, like something insane just off that moment of trash talk. And that's just one of many.
Insane.
Yeah, and people who don't know the game are commenting. They're like, "What game is this? What game is this?" It's just all these comments. Feel like it's Gears of War. That's free publicity. That's got to be like the coalition's like undercover marketing strat because they drop F-bombs. They drop some nasty stuff. Like they don't hold up, man. I hear like some stuff that I can't even say on this show. Like
time out. For instance, remember Vegito? I don't know if you remember back in the day. Vegito got on the chair and started smacking his ass when they beat, I think it was Straight Ripping. And it was viral, and being viral back then wasn't a thing. And that made people want to watch. In Halo, like if you win and you want to pop off, don't yell crazy. Just, have a formulated type of trash talk style.
Yeah.
Like in your interviews, be yourself. Don't be a robot. Because after events, I can count on Kotaku to come out with an article and a tweet that's going to go viral for Gears of War, and it's going to bring more viewers for us. If Halo does that, it's going to be big. That's why I love seeing clips on the timeline every single day, because it brings more players to your game and brings awareness.
Yeah, you need that. Like, that's the free publicity. That's the real authentic personality of these players that makes you want to get behind the rivalries. Even that one Ryan Noob and Spartan, that brief rivalry when they got in each other's faces at the end of not that I'm saying we should force this into events, but like that one moment right there. They don't have to fight, whatever. I'm just saying, like, that one moment was like, whoa, like, who are these people that I didn't care about? Like, I followed them, and I'm sure other people would be like, I didn't know who these guys were. Now I want to know who Ryan Noob and Spartan is. Like, what's the history of the rivalry? Like, you know, so it just, all these questions come up. So, yeah, I think you have to have that. And I think one of the biggest things that I hate about the top level of competitive Halo is there seems to be this new like theory that if you don't say anything, that if you like just act cool and you're really like, you make it look like you didn't try. That's what it is. Like the new Halo motto when you win with like Splice and Talks more so Splice is like they make it look like they didn't try, like it was easy. They just press the easy button. They say a few words, no trash talk, just kind of like just another day, you know, and they take the importance over. Right. And it's like jumping, like getting hype, getting loud is like not cool in top level Halo. It's like it's got to be easy, you know, like so that needs to change. That needs to change completely.
The thing about trash talk is that people think we hate each other. After we sit there and say, hey, your mama looks like Limp Bizkit or whatever, after the game, we come up and we dap up. We say, hey, you know, good game, man. You know, you did great. You did great. If Tox won, it turned out I was like, yeah, you know, that was easy. So-and-so was garbage. I was able to outside, you know, out stardom. Something like that gets the fans like, oh, it gets the chat going. It creates conversation that extends outside the game. And if you create conversation outside the game, it's nothing more but a W for your game. And if I know there's a lot of pros watching this right now because I've seen some check marks in the chat. That's really important because we all want to grow our games. In order to do that, you're gonna have to advertise outside. Yeah, we want to be quiet and be cool and not really, you know, be out there, but you have fans, whether you want to believe it or not. And these fans are gonna come back and watch your stream if you're a polarizing figure and they want to follow you. You know, engage with your fan base, engage with the viewership, and your game will grow. I guarantee you that because we've seen it on our end. And yeah, man,
Halo needs that back, and I'm sure they'll get it. I mean, Halo 3, if there's one game that's going to bring back like hype, personality, and some rivalry, I think Halo 3 has that opportunity. So I'm excited to see that. I'm glad that we can agree on those last two. Art, atmosphere, the rivalry, the community, the personality. We need that no matter what. That's one of the biggest things, and that's one thing that we can deliver on. And as far as the future, I think, you know, in the end of the day, just listen to your community. If the bulk of the community is saying it should be this way, then I think 343 needs to keep a close ear on what the community is saying and just try to. It's like HCS grassroots, you know, support the members in the community that are putting in the most work, making the most content, making the community overall a better place. But overall, that covers the interview for today, man. Thank you so much.
One thing I want to say. What's up? All right. So even though you guys sold 125 team passes, which is is fucking phenomenal. Okay. For everybody out there in the chat, make sure you support these events, going out to them, you know, being a spectator or whatnot, because these experiences don't happen often. You know, after this Halo 3 throwback, who says there's going to be anything for the next 6 months? You don't want to miss that opportunity because you're going to miss memories that you can have for a lifetime. Just make sure you go out there, have fun, and really enjoy what UGC is doing out there. And that's really all I have to say. You know, support your scene, because if you don't do it, who will?
Now, you know, I completely agree, and I love that you say that. And then I hate the fact that you're not going to be at St. Louis, man. You're trying to.
Dude, I have a team pass, and
now you gotta go
because I can't do it, man.
And Velly says he's giving up his team pass, guys. Somebody send this guy a DM, and maybe you can figure out a way to get his team pass. I can't believe you, man. You say that beautiful, with this beautiful soliloquy. Anyway, man, I completely agree, guys. You got to check out this event. It's the biggest event coming up. There's such, even if you're not competing, it's the atmosphere. It's meeting the community. It's just being a part of it, building those memories, and unforgettable memories. Right? Yeah, man. Thank you, Velly. Thank you for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me on, man. It's been a good time.
Where can we find you, dude? Where can we find you online?
If you want to find me online, I believe under my face, my beautiful face, you see at VellyVell, 3 L's in Velly, 2 L's in Vel. Listen, if you want somebody that's blunt, that's gonna say what's on their mind, you know, I don't pull any punches. I'm straight up. I'm involved in the Gears of War and now Rainbow Six community. I'm gonna be an analyst and a week. I'm so excited. Yeah, make sure you follow me, and yeah, I hope to see you guys soon at a Halo event. And more Halo and Gears of War events, please.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. That's it.
Let's get you on, man.
All right, man. You be easy. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you for joining me, guys. We're cutting to a quick break. We'll be right back talking to Ace. Stick around. And we're back. Welcome back to the stream, guys. The second half of the show, we're going to be talking to Ace. But one thing, make sure you guys stick around to the end of the show. We're going to be giving away a free pass for the 4v4 UGC event. Tony put up the graphic. There it is right there, guys. We're giving away a free pass to the biggest Halo event, probably in 2019. I don't know. We'll see what G4G can do to follow us up. But this is a huge event coming up. You're going to get a free ticket to get there. So stick around till the end of the show. You can get that. The next person I'd like to talk to, though, this guy has an unbelievable track record in Halo. He's competed in every single title since Halo 2, leaves no stone unturned. I'd like to welcome Ace to the show. How's it going, man?
What's up, man? I'm doing great.
Yo,
Thanks for having me on the show, man. Really appreciate it.
Dude.
Sorry about this light behind me. It's the only light I have in my room, and it's a struggle because they don't have like natural lighting in this apartment.
Damn.
Doing my best.
Just like shove your head in front of it somehow.
Yeah,
something like that, I guess. Yeah, that works. Man, how you been though? You been streaming today at all?
No, not today. I'm actually still on the gamer sleep schedule, the Halo 3 schedule. Man, puts you on that when you game all night. First time I played this game, I gamed until like 10 a.m. and then I've been screwed since.
Man,
so I just
you were
woke up
absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, I just want to say you're disgusting at Halo 3. You got to be like one of the best Halo 3 players. Later, we're going to look at one of your clips, and I want to just like talk about that, the almost four, the back-to-back overkills where you got the two of them almost. We're going to look at that, and we'll talk about it. But I want to start from the beginning, man, because you have like just a serious history when it comes to Halo. You started with Halo 2. You competed in every single title since, including Halo 4. And Halo 4, you have some of your biggest achievements, which is unreal that you've been here this entire time at the top of your game. So when did it all start? Like, where did it all begin? How'd you get into gaming? How'd you get into Halo?
Well, it actually started with Halo 1.
Nice.
You know, I was a big PS2 kid growing up, you know, playing all the PS2 games like, Grand Theft Auto and Midnight Club 2 and all those games. And then everybody was talking about Halo on Xbox, and like they were saying like you need to buy an Xbox just for Halo. You know what I mean? So I did. My family got one Christmas, and first I remember it was Christmas night, and the first time I played like the first level of campaign, it was just like an instant love for the game. You know what I mean? Like it was by far the most fun and most rewarding game there was, and that was just the campaign. And then we started diving into the multiplayer with my family. I have 3 brothers, and we'd always just play 2v2s together. And then I had friends, and we'd play 2v2s, split screen on the same TV, just screen watching each other, playing like the same maps over and over. And then that moved on into Halo 2, where my brother and I just got more into it, you know, with Xbox Live. And my brother, if a lot of people don't know, he went to high school. He met Strongside. He met him in his high school class, and like their entire high school class, all the guys just mainly played Halo. And Strongside would like have everybody over at his house just gaming all weekend, basically all weekend in like a dungeon with like no windows. So everybody was up all night. And that's when we just started grinding out Halo and like learning about MLG and just playing every single night, trying to get those ranks up in Halo 2.
Man, unreal. Yeah, like the fact that your brother was pretty awesome. Like you guys, you started a whole revolution in Halo. Like Elamite beating Strongside in high school, and then you guys become like they became some of the best players in the world, and you're just like immediately following in those footsteps. And you've had an unbelievable track record as well. So exciting just hearing people getting it. Matt, Halo 1 was really like a life changer for so many people. Even just that like second level when it opens up the world and you realize this is like a massive, almost like an open world game. It's just nothing like it, which was insane, man. So you started with Halo 2. You really started to come into your own in Halo 3, though. So in Halo 3, towards the end in 2010, MLG Dallas, you guys won $60,000. You're a member of Status Quo with Flamesword, Assault, and Enable. That was a massive event. What did it feel like coming in second place, like competing at almost like the top of your game at the peak of Halo 3? And what was the point in your career where you felt like this is going to be, like Halo is going to be your career, you're competing at this as like a life choice? So kind of 2 questions there.
Well, I'll start with that. It was actually never really like a life choice or something like I decided to do. It was almost like it just came to me. It was just the thing that I wanted to do automatically. You know what I mean? Like having an older brother that was 5 years older than me, and just like being around Strongside and him and all the friends and like all my locals around me and like just playing Halo. That was just like the thing to do at my age, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I mean, besides sport, I wasn't like too into sports, and then like I was just more into gaming ever since I like knew who I was, really playing like Nintendo 64 and everything, and that was just what was fun to me. That's what I always did, and that was just like what it just felt like destiny almost, just like playing that with my brother and just growing up and just competing is just like what we love to do, because that's really what it's about, as a competition. And moving on, I'd say going into playing with Status Quo and winning that tournament was a very big deal for us. Or not winning the tournament, we actually got second, but it felt like we won the tournament because we were getting, we got 4th place every single event going into the up until the finals of that season, and then we ended up getting 7th the event before we got second. And I think it was that event. I was actually watching a stream last night. I was rewatching that event where we got 7th, and I realized that our coach was a large part of the reason why, in my opinion, that we didn't do better than we were, because I feel like we were a really good team, but we, sometimes when we started losing, we choke under pressure. You know what I mean? Like, for example, the game that I watched, we were up 2-0 on Pit with like 5 minutes left, and we lost. Like, there's no excuse for that. You know what I mean? Pit is really hard to capture the flying on. There's no excuse to like choke that hard. But yeah, I just knew power-ups were always our problem, man. Like, we just never, for some reason, we were so stupid and never like focused on the power-ups enough. And after that event, we decided to pick up T-Squared, because I don't forgot. I don't think he qualified for the last event or whatever. So we picked him up, and I remember I coached certain event in 2008. So he kind of returned the favor and coached us in 2010. And he's also a very, very solid coach, of course. And yeah, I think he was almost the reason that we got second and finally like performed to our potential.
Nice. Yeah. That's the thing is like coaches don't really get that recognition enough sometimes. They're so important. It's not even just like timing the power ups, but like you said, you can get in your own head about things. Like you lose a game that you shouldn't have lost. It's kind of hard to come back from that, especially if players on your team are like they're not as motivated. Like the coach is the person who can get everybody motivated, get their heads back into the game and keep that energy going.
A lot of coaches don't do. You know what I mean? A lot of coaches don't do that. If the coach could, have those kind of skills and be able to like, say what the team needs to hear type thing and actually be like a coach like that you would hear in classic sports, that would go a long way in esports, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's starting to happen. Like you're seeing some pretty amazing coaches on these top teams now, and it's showing. All the top teams have some of the best coaches in the league. So, I mean, First of all, also, I got to give a big shout out to the Halo menu music you have playing in the background there. Is that MCC playing? No, I mean, it's awesome. It adds the atmosphere. Yeah, sorry. It's not so loud that it's like the only thing that we hear. It's just like a nice subtle, it's like the Halo 2 menu music, isn't it? It's the
MCC music. My bad. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, no worries, man. It's awesome. I mean, we all love that music. It's just adding to the atmosphere. But yeah, so you guys had an amazing time with Status Quo. You won the next event as well. Like right after Halo 3, you jumped into a Reach and you won the first Reach event. So you guys carried that momentum directly over to the next title.
Yeah, that was a great experience as well. We kind of got a little bit of notoriety from getting second place at that tournament, and like also because we were like a team for so long that entire season.
Yeah.
And actually, Enable, I think it was around that time, Enable got sponsored by Red Bull. And then moving into Halo Reach, he was still sponsored. I can't remember if he got sponsored at that Halo 3 event or before Halo Reach's first event. Yeah. But they like all Red Bull called all of us up like a week before that first event of Halo Reach and told us that we were all getting sponsored by them as well. So that was pretty dope. And I think that kind of accelerated us to win that first event.
Yeah. And you didn't let up. You kept competing. You kept improving. Halo 4 seemed to be like, did you guys dominate Halo 4? From what I can see from the standings, that you had your team with Ninja as well. And I'm curious to know what it was like playing with him back in the day as well. But with Halo 4, you guys won some of the biggest events. You were like the king of Halo 4. I remember that 1v1 against Pistola that you won for 200K. What was it like, winning that event? And Halo 4 as well. I got to know what your opinions are on that title too. So start with wherever you want to start with.
So Halo 4 was, I remember picking it up the night it dropped and playing it a couple of days. I was a sophomore in college at the time, and I played it a couple of days. I'm like, I don't really have time for this right now. I can't go to these AGL tournaments and compete. So I just kind of was doing my thing in school, studying, and I'd watch my roommates play a lot of Halo 4, but I never really played it like that whole semester, in the winter and then going to the spring. I never played it until I finished college, and I'm like, man, I miss Halo. I want to get back into this. You know what I mean? And I heard about Halo, the AGLs were getting more popular, and like my friends like Dursky were playing Halo 4. And I think the competitive settings had gotten better through Ghost of Yami, and they had those like hard light shields into the game and all that. And so I just started playing it again, and I hopped into it, and maybe it was because I had like a year-long break from Halo, but when I hopped back into it, I was starting to have a lot of fun on those Halo 4 settings. Not matchmaking, nothing about actual Halo 4, just like custom games and competitive settings were
just those settings.
Just those settings were fun. And I got back into it, just gaming those settings, and then I had a team with Dursky and like Enable and Flamesword, and we got back into it, placed like kind of high at a couple of AGL tournaments, and then Flamesword and Enable left us, and then kind of me and Dursky kind of just ended up getting picked up by Legit and Ninja, and obviously, and that was honestly probably one of my favorite teams for like the month that I've been on, because we were just like all positive vibes, like all like really really wanting to win that next event, and like just our chemistry was like super good for some reason, and just like I don't know, Ninja. You asked about Ninja. Ninja was, I mean, I didn't team with him, but like besides that very much. But at that time, Ninja was an amazing teammate. Probably one of my favorite I've ever had as well. He was like super good vibes the entire time, super good teammate. And he was also solid at Halo 4. He knew what was going on. and I love teaming with him there. Yeah, and then so moving on after that, you know, the Halo 4 Global Championship story. I could talk to you the entire story for like 30 minutes at least, maybe an hour. But there's a lot of like coincidental things that happened like leading up to it. Those qualifiers online, man. Do you remember those? The qualifiers online to like try to get invited and paid your way there to that tournament.
No.
It was insane because like you could only lose like 2 games online or whatever. You had to like keep winning all these free for alls online to like get into the top 8 or top 4 highest like points or whatever for that week to get an invite. So it was so stressful. Like people were making new accounts all the time. Like people were trying to like make fake accounts and match each other and just like make up the other pros lose in the matchmaking game. And it was just it was hell. And then they announced, I got really happy when they announced that like we could qualify at the tournament instead of like doing the online stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, just it was an insane story, man. I finished my second day, my second class of the day in college on a Thursday. School had just started, and I like hopped in. I went to the airport in Lexington, hopped on a flight. It was actually funny because like the weird thing about the story that I'll tell you is I was flying from Lexington, and my dad's a pilot, so I fly standby, so like you kind of get the remaining seats on the flight. I got the last seat on the flight out of Lexington to Seattle, and if I didn't get that seat there, I wouldn't have went to the tournament. I don't think, because I would have to bought a plane $500 at least, and I would have just like skipped the tournament. But I got the last seat, and then I went to the tournament, and just it was just insane. I don't know. I was never really known for free for all, but I kind of learned. I was just thinking about free for all on my way there, and I kind of like figured out how to play it, I guess. And I started doing like really, really good in free for all in the free for alls there, and yeah, just somehow pulled it off, man. It was still like a surreal experience and like unbelievable story that I look back and I don't even really like think that it happened. Like that is just really weird, really crazy to think about.
Man, it's so crazy how like listening to you and like other pro stories, like how much like kind of natural talent seems to be involved in these stories. Like, of course, you play so much Halo, you grind like forever, so like your Halo is like ingrained in your blood. Like it's like you know the game really well. But when you talk about like almost not going to the event and then going and winning 200,000, it's like such. It seems kind of like this like lax. Like you kind of just you're playing the game and it turns out you're winning tournaments. Turns out you're one of the best players in the world. It's like it's so unreal because like I'm coming into it and I was a little late grinding Halo, and it's been kicking my ass. Even going back to Halo 3, this game is kicking my ass, and like I love it, but it's not easy. It's like it's a really tough grind. So to be able to go like come up on Halo and just be so naturally just skilled at Halo and have those kinds of experiences at events, I'm a little jealous. but that's it's awesome that you're able to achieve what you did. I gotta say though, like 1v1 against Ola for $200,000, you must have been so like, were you nervous? Like, how do you feel on a stage at a 1v1 like that?
It was a unique and different experience by far because we had I think for my first time ever, we had like these big headsets that were all white noise into your heads. It was like a meditative experience almost, or something like that. It was like it's something that you've never been in before. It's just like your own. All you could hear is the Halo game. Like that's it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're just in your own thoughts and like that Halo, like the sounds of the map. That's it. Like it was super weird because like all those people and all those things are going on around you, but like all you could hear is that the white noise really, and it's just we never really played with white noise before that, and it was just a different experience. And yeah, I would say I was nervous going up there, but I calmed myself down like going into that final rematch of that tied 1v1 for the next kill wins game, and it just ended up working out, I guess. I honestly choked. Could have had the first kill like easily right when the game like right off the rip, but I choked really hard. But then luckily I still got the kill.
Like you made it work, man. And that's an interesting thing too. It's like there's so much energy, there's massive audiences watching you, but once you put on those headsets and they block out all sound, it's just like you in the game and you're able to zone in and make it work. So then Halo 5 came around. And when with Halo 5, you've had I'd say you had a pretty great career too, but it's been tough because like you've been so close to the top throughout, but not quite just getting to that top spot. What do you think about Halo 5? Because in the last event for Halo 5, you were on Elevate. It was a bit of a last minute kind of decision, but I'd say that your team kind of underperformed as far as the expectations, like what we had wanted to see from Elevate. What happened in that last event? And then we'll get into how you feel about Halo 5 as well.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say I had the best career in Halo 5. It was definitely disappointing for me for the most part.
Well, I mean, yeah, from your perspective, wanting to be, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. But going to the last event, yeah, we were definitely at Elevate. We're a minimum top 6 team. You know, the bracket, it was unfortunate the way the bracket fell to play Accelerate. You know, I think we probably would have got top 6 if we were on different sides of the bracket, most likely. You know, at least most likely. I don't want to say anything like hypothetical, but you know, it just sometimes it happens like that. You know, we were very, very close to beating Renegades for, you know, in the pool play match, very close. Like we were at 35-35 game 5 where we could have had the advantage, you know. And it just sucks that it fell the way it did. You know, I think if we had beaten them, we probably would have got maybe 4th, maybe top 6, easy, you know. Minimum. So you know, sucks the way it happened. And then wait, what was the next question? Like, how do I feel about Halo 5 in general?
Yeah, what'd you think about the title? Just kind of looking back on Halo 5 now that I guess now that it's over.
Yeah,
kind of a tough question.
I mean, there's so many things to talk about. Like the game itself is solid. I wouldn't say it's like a cousin of Halo rather than like a brother or sister. You know, it's not really.
Yeah.
It's not exactly like Halo, like, or at least the Halos that we know of. You know, it's just. I think like even in Halo 4, I think what really I was thinking about it, I think yesterday, what really messes it up is like the clamber and the ability to just all the altitudes to be able to get around the altitude of the maps so easily, you know, with spring jump or whatever else. Like that really screws with the game because like, and even in Halo 4, you know, on Haven in Halo 4, when you're down low on the bottom part of the map, you got to sprint up to the ramp to get up top, or you can like do that jump, but like you still got to move around. It takes a lot longer, but in Halo 5, you can just like be anywhere you want at all times. And there's just so much like it takes a lot of Halo. A lot of people don't understand is like height advantage, like going around controlling power positions on the map, which are the high positions. And like if you fall from the height position, then you lose your complete advantage, and you know you can't get immediately back up there. And Halo 5, you know, that kind of screwed it all up. And you know, there's a million things I could talk about with that game. The heavy aim is really unfortunate to experience in the different sensitivities and whatnot, because the game is definitely more fun on LAN and not really an enjoyable experience online. But I will say I was thinking about it when, you know, the show was on, watching the show about 20 minutes ago when you guys were talking. I really think the biggest difference between Halo 5 and the other classic Halos is really the gunplay, and mainly the gunplay, just like the satisfaction of like aiming your gun at someone and killing them. Like in Halo 3, I'm satisfied when, you know, I get one simple kill, you know. I think most casuals are as well, but like and even in Halo 2, I was playing it like 6 months ago. You just zoom in and shoot your BR across the map and like just hitting shots, like that's fun as well, you know. And then there's a million other things fun in Halo 2, but it's like it comes down to like that micro fun that you have from the small things, just like shooting your gun or just like, you know, moving around, like doing the small things, just hitting your shots. I think that's one of the most fun things about the game, like especially in Halo 3. Like it takes a lot of skill to be like A Street on Onslaught and shooting someone on the B Street across the map. It takes a ton of like energy and effort to be able to hit some of those shots. You know, you have to lead perfectly, you have to know where they're going. Like it's hard, very hard. And that's like one of the big parts of the game. And also, I think when it comes to Halo 5, like the skill gap, it turned into just like hitting your buttons and sprinting and your movement, sprinting around, rather than like the gunplay. So like the satisfaction kind of like dropped off, in my opinion. You know, it went from gunplay and to like movement, and there just isn't really a lot of individual satisfaction you get just from like your own movement. If that makes any sense? At least that's how I feel.
Yeah, I guess it depends on where you derive the satisfaction. But as far as like the comparison that you're making between classic and modern Halo as it being like a cousin, I think like I definitely see where you're coming from. And it's like fundamentally different. Like that high ground power positioning thing that you're talking about in Halo 3 is so crucial. Like think about Construct. Like in Construct, there's only like 4 ways to get up to the top. You control top, you control those 4 routes, you know what's happening on the map. Like that's power weapon, power position control.
Yeah.
In Halo 5, there's so many ways to get up and you could do it so quickly. So it completely flips that on its head and it completely changes the dynamic of competitive play. And I guess, yeah, what makes Halo Halo. So I like how you said it's like kind of like a cousin because the game is still good. It's still solid, but it's not what Halo was. So we're in this interesting kind of position. And yeah, gunplay is it is like with Halo 3 being so hyper focused on those core mechanics of shooting, especially with leading your shots. That's all you're thinking about is like how to hit those shots. And the skill comes down to like those little micro instances when you manage to land the full burst in a lead versus just like 2 shots in a lead or whatever it was. Versus Halo 5, where it snaps on. It's like getting a 5 is relatively easy, but then when it could like the highest level of play is like, can you hit that spring jump? Can you time that thrust perfectly or whatever? So it more relies on movement. So it's interesting because I personally, I love movement, and that's what drew me to Halo 5 was that it was so deep in that aspect. But looking back on the franchise and the fact that gunplay was always so important in Halo, that was like the icon of what Halo was. It does feel like it's strayed from that path as well. So it's tough because Halo 5 is actually a pretty quality title, but when it's compared up against what Halo was as a legacy, it's hard for it to be a part of that legacy, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. There is some good like Halo 5 I think it got it close, got the formula close, but it's just not there perfectly. I'm gonna bring up something that my old coach told me because like comes from like back in like old Bungie developers talking about Halo. Said I'm gonna butcher like some of this because I've never seen it and I was just told it, but there's like a triangle of combat that like the developers knew that they needed to have like the exact formula to get the game right, so it was always fun and satisfying. It was like a triangle of like grenades, shooting, and melees. So like grenades, shooting, and melees, and like as long as you could do all those things while you were moving, then like the game was fun and satisfying. If you screwed that up in any way, like it kind of messed with the game, and like the whole triangle, like the formula is like broken, and like it just wasn't as good. And Halo 5 like doesn't really have that, like it's kind of like the thrust, and the clambering, the thrusting, and like you can do like things like YY, which makes the game a little bit better and helps like with your grenades and all that, but like it kind of breaks the whole triangle, and then being able to do all these things while you move and go somewhere, it kind of breaks like this. I think that is what screws with like the storyline in between fights in a 1v1 individual battle. Like you have to, and Halo 3s and other Halos, like you're hiding behind a wall and what you're thinking is, oh, if this guy is this guy about to throw a grenade because I'm one shot and kill me behind this wall? Should I start moving? So if I move, he'll see me and he'll shoot me. But if he throws a grenade, I can move to another position, get behind a wall, and like that's like the thinking. That's the battle right there between your head and his. Like, is he going to throw the grenade or not? You know what I mean? So if he throws the grenade, you can get away maybe. But if he doesn't, then you're just going to die if you pop out. So like those are the kind of small things that keep you engaged in the game and just like continue, like make it fun at all times and just make you never want to like get away from the game. Keep you playing all night.
Would you say that that's lost in Halo 5 though? Because I feel like that dynamic still does exist, right? Like kind of encouraging somebody to toss a nade on a challenge or
grenade hit markers. You know what I mean? Grenade hit markers screw with it a ton. Stuff like that, like
you hit the grenade too,
Also just like sprinting away, like sprinting or thrust sliding away, or just even thrust sliding to people, and there's just kind of in a spot where they can't even make a play on you, And, I mean, it could get a lot deeper with just like the gunplay in Halo 5. That's the other thing about Halo 5 that I don't like is just like even with sniper, like you can do all the crazy stuff you want, and it still just doesn't hit that feeling that you get from other Halos. It just doesn't like.
Yeah.
It's just that sticky aim, man. They increased it like what 10% or whatever, like 10-15%. In no scoping in Halo 3 is really hard. Yeah, the magnetism.
Yeah.
In Halo 2, no scoping, man, it's unheard of. Like the 20 meters away or 10 meters away, like you don't no scope people in Halo 2. It's like right in your face, basically. And just, I think it's just that satisfaction of hitting good shots is gone. Halo 5.
So that's actually like a really, yeah. That's actually a really important part then, because I think, yeah, what's kind of lost in Halo 5 is the depth of the gunplay, right? Because they added so much depth and movement. And for some people, that's exciting. Like, I like that. But the depth of the gunplay isn't really there. It's not, in Halo 3, there's so much that goes into hitting every single shot. Even in Halo 2, you had aspects of gunplay like the BXR and the double shot with the BR that had that had its own depth, its own mechanics related to it, but that was specific to shooting, right? So I think what the next Halo would have to get right is just the satisfaction of hitting your shots, the depth of gunplay. But then if they enhance movement too much, it's hard to have that depth, right? Because the reason why we have this magnetism is because people can jump around and thrust around so fast. So they had to kind of, I guess, lower the skill gap on hitting your standard shots. So it's interesting then, because that means that maybe, yeah, they do, like, let's say they take out sprint, they have some depth in mechanics and they improve the depth in the gunplay. You could still advance movement, but you just can't advance it too much so that people like can't hit anything and it's like ridiculous. There's a middle ground there that needs to be hit at least. There is something that needs to improve in gunplay. Yeah,
you're right about that 100%. Yeah. Like, it is hard. If it was too easy or too hard to snipe in Halo 5, it might be too hard to snipe people sprinting around. I mean, maybe like,
I don't know.
Maybe
they could still,
like a middle ground, or at least like make it customizable for the competitive part of the in my opinion, I see it as like two different kind of communities, and like casual and competitive community. There's gonna be a line drawn somewhere somehow between them, and as long as the game's fun, in my opinion, the competitive community will prosper. It will be huge, and that's what we need. We need popularity in the competitive community. It's fun. And I think it's just, the casual is always going to be the casual, and they're not going to really care about the competitive unless they get drawn into it somehow.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I was thinking about that, in the conversation with Velly, if whether or not, there should be a competitive mode that is open to changes, and that, that's a direct conversation between the pro players, the competitive community, and the developers. And yes, that could split the community in a way, because it's different than, I guess, the other casual side of the game. But then you get a game that is like built for competitive play that makes the most sense in that aspect. But yeah, like in the end of the day, it needs to feel fun to play. And I think a big reason why people aren't experiencing that fun might come from the core mechanics in gunplay. Just gunplay is not as rewarding as it used to be. It's not as challenging. Just the specific aspect of hitting shots.
Well,
right?
They get that right, then it'll help the casual community. That's the thing. The casual community
they're forced to adapt,
be better off too. They'll be better off too. They'll probably have more fun. The game will be bigger if that's better for the casual community, in my opinion. I mean, that's just like the feeling that I get from the casual people that I personally know, that I don't know online or anything. Just the people that I personally know that played Halo and just didn't really play a lot of like other Halo, like Halo 4 and Halo 5.
Yeah. It is interesting that there is a community being built around Halo 5. There are casuals that are pleased playing Halo 5, even with the ground pound, the Spartan charge. You know what I mean? There's like this new community that 343 has brought in of people who like to sprint. They like those aspects, but then, not even that I think that should be there, but there is that community. People are like, oh, I like ground pounding. I like Spartan charging. So they've also invited that in too. And I wonder what's going to happen in that regard. I don't even know where I'm going with that point right there, but
I want to say there real quick. I mean, if you were a younger kid, like 8 years old to like 14 or like 15 or something, and you're, a lot of the new age pros in Halo 5, played their first Halo, or, at least one of their first Halos, and, they may like that stuff, but who's to say that they wouldn't like a mixed version of classic Halo? You know what I mean? Who's to say they wouldn't like a lot of that part of the game? Like, you don't know, I did, ground pound was kind of cool. There was kind of like a triangle, or maybe more like a pentagon of like abilities in Halo 5 that were kind of like balanced, kind of made it satisfying, but it also kind of like took away from competitiveness in a lot of ways, and it was kind of hard to incorporate that and balance it all out and have it all be competitive and satisfying at the same time. So I don't know, man. This is a big argument that a lot of people are having.
Yeah. The only thing that I hope is, I mean, all I hope in the end of the day is that we just have some more positivity as a community. And I think seeing Halo 3 come back has been bringing back a lot of positivity in a lot of ways. So I think that's an exciting thing. Just having people getting hype about Halo in some ways is what our community needs. So a lot of things have changed recently. As you know, UGC has an awesome 4v4 event coming up focused on Halo 3. Halo 3 is now the main focus as far as Halo goes. What do you think of this change? I'm sure you've been grinding the hell out of Halo 3. What do you think of the recent changes? Are you competing, by the way? Are you going to the 4v4?
Yeah, I'm competing and going to the 4v4. But
let's go.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I'm basic. Would it be safe to say that Halo 3 was at the peak of Halo was Halo 3 in like 2010 in MLG?
Easy popularity, yeah.
Yeah. Storylines, all that. Like, it was the best back then. I was in the middle of it. I know, being at TLN and practicing all the time. We actually had the opportunity because of how big Halo was to be able to put all of our energy into practicing Halo almost all the time. That's literally what I did in high school on the weekends. I was split between high school and doing that. And, there was money to be made there. And really, I love to see it back. I really do. It's even more of a fun game on LAN. I think everybody going to the tournament realizes that. That's one of the best things is just to be able to play on LAN. And what I'm really hoping for is for Halo 3 to be bigger than Halo 5 was. Like, almost, that would be amazing to see. Like, bigger than it was right when Halo 5 dropped. I think it has the potential to do that. I wouldn't say it's impossible, I definitely think, like, I'm getting texts from, like, I'm on Facebook getting messages from, like, people I used to play with that are, like, haven't touched Halo in forever. I'm, like, trying to come back, and, like, I'm on my statuses on my comments, like, are you playing again? Like, can I play with you? Like, all this kind of stuff. Like, people like playing that game, and, who's to say that some new age people that didn't used to play back then wouldn't like it as well? I really want to see it get as big as possible, and also I want, if we have the numbers there, I think if we can get the numbers and the popularity there, then the storylines will come, and then the money will come, because we really need the money in the prize pool and the money around the hype, the hype around the events and stuff, to be able to have the top players and the top, like, amateurs and all that be able to dedicate more time to practicing and competing, and actually make it something that's like, because back in the Halo 4 AGL days, like late Halo Reach, like, it kind of was just a joke. It was kind of like a local LAN tournament. No one was really practicing much, like, just kind of for fun. Just for fun. We didn't even get paid for a year after the AGLs. Like, it's just
the AGL thing sounds rough, man.
Yeah. All I know is if we want to see Halo be its biggest, we need the money in the prize pool to be there. So, like, people like Lunch and Roy can come back and work less at their jobs and be able to practice more. And all these other ex-pros and all this stuff, all these older people, we need, like, if we want to make it bigger, we need to have, like, the size of a prize pool like it was, like, a year ago in Halo 5, But that's the hope. I hope we can do that. But like, that's just saying, that's what we need. We need to be able to, like, a lot of pros currently are worrying, like, how are we gonna, support ourselves, like, pay rent, like, live, how are we gonna be able to do this with Halo 3 right now? Like, we don't know, but we want to be able to do that, because we all enjoy playing this game, and I think a lot of people really in the world want to see it be as big as possible.
Yeah, man. I think even you're right though. A lot. What's that?
For interrupting. Like, even someone told me on Facebook, man. He's like, I can't come back unless, like, they announce a circuit for it. You know what I mean? I can't, like, I don't want to come back and announce, like, more money and it's like a circuit. Like,
right.
So that's really the goal. That's something I'm hoping we can achieve with Halo 3.
I mean, like, if it brings life back to Halo and Halo is popular again as a result, then I think that would be amazing. And you're right, it needs that. I think people are kind of on the fence. They're like, is this just nostalgia right now? Is it going to phase out? Are we going to last a year, 2 years? Who knows how long it is till Infinite? I think there's a lot kind of riding on that UGC event, right? Because if we have this event and it's insanely competitive, it's insanely hyped. There's, like, tons of clips that are generated. I'm going to have to try to, like, analyze stuff and make stuff as hype as possible, right? Like, if there's enough people talking about that event, it might set a precedent going into more competition and more events. And I mean, all we have announced right now is just that in G4G, but hopefully there's more. Hopefully we get more events and more incentive for people to continue playing. Having Roy come back and stream, that was amazing. That first stream, him popping off like that was insane. Having other big pros in person, even Neighbor streaming, Flamesword streaming, Maniac streaming, like considering things like competition, stuff like that. I think that's so amazing for the community. So whatever can happen to incentivize that type of participation would be so huge for sure. And actually, just to continue with this, dude, you are insane at Halo 3, by the way. Tony, we have a clip that I want to showcase that you can put up on the stream. But man, so some of the clips that you're hitting, this is just one, guys. You can go to Ace's Twitter and check out like just the series of awesome clips this guy's been posting. This is just one that I retweeted recently. Tony, you can show it right now.
Uno, where?
I'll be straight.
Double. Where? Triple, flag. Don't kill him. Don't kill him.
I'm not. He's one. He's one.
Oh my god, dude.
No way that wasn't an over.
I don't know.
Okay, reach out. Sub.
Alright, give me.
He's right there. In the corner.
Over. Hey, look B. Look B.
He's weak basement. Oh, he went basement, dude.
Jeez, dude. Just like relentlessly beating them down in their spawns. First of all, like what's your sensitivity? Is there like I'm still trying to figure out what the best sense is in this game. Is there like a unanimously agreed upon like sensitivity or like general like range in sensitivity that everybody's working with right now? What about you?
I like with the sensitivity changes that they added. I'm messing around with my sensitivity, trying to figure out like what is actually the best for this game.
Yeah, there's so much now.
I think Halo 3 was always a game for me that I was like warming up with. I would always like warm up on a higher sense and go down to a lower or something like that, so it like felt slower because I feel like that's what happened in Halo 3 is like you like calibrate your sense almost, and like if I go from a really low sense and play something like I was just playing like yesterday and felt fine with it, it's like feels like 10 cents for me for like at least a couple like an hour or two, But I think I 2.5 or 3 horizontal, like 3.5 or maybe 4 vertical. Also, I think it depends on the server. I think a better server that you're faster sensitivity. It's kind of how it always was in online Halo. But about 3, 4, 5 acceleration. Right now, I'm floating around about like 2.5 horizontal, 3.5 vertical, and like 2 acceleration or 3 acceleration, something like that.
Yeah,
it changes all the time.
You're a little higher on the vertical than the horizontal, right? Because I'm getting the sense that vertical seems to be a little higher, like or feels like it needs to be a little higher. At least when I'm playing, and I'm nowhere near as good as you guys.
Yeah, that's kind of something I didn't even really ever think about back in the old Halos. They didn't. Know what your horizontal.
There's just one number
or anything or vertical. But yeah, obviously I think there's benefit to having a higher vertical sensitivity, just in general because of what you need sometimes to like look up when someone's right above you or right below you. It just helps out if you can be able to control that and be able to like look down or up faster because it's more important than horizontally when you're just strafing and you don't really have to look too much to the left or right horizontally in like quick 180 or 90-degree movements.
Yeah.
But vertically, vertically you need like those larger 90-degree movements and whatnot.
Yeah. One of the big things about that clip as well is just the amount of prediction that you're able to have, just kind of like knowing where enemies are going to be. You're tossing nades perfectly where you expect enemies to be, finishing them off with a headshot. And then the spawns too, like the second set of spawns, like did you know that it was going to happen that way? Or it seems like the team influence spawn is just so heavily weighted because you're literally like looking at their spawns and they're spawning in front of you and you're finishing them off. And then you move over to the next site after. How did you know to do that and not switch too?
I don't know the exact formula for the spawns on Onslaught, but all the pros kind of knew in general that like if they died around the B side of the map, then they usually would spawn around the A side of the map almost no matter what. It wasn't 100%. Like I said, there's like other people on the map on your team influencing spawns and nading or whatever influencing spawns. But yeah, like that was a custom, go on top of the box when they're spawning up. Like everyone knows, almost everyone that plays competitively knows to do that. It's like one of the best spots to be when they're all spawning up underneath you. And just kind of like just habit to be able to like go from the B side of the map B side the base to the A side, top of the box, and just spawn kill, and then do the same thing if they spawn on the other side.
Yeah, some of the biggest things you need to take note of. So yeah, even just your positioning, getting on top of that box and being in like the perfect position to take advantage of all of those kills, and then knowing after you got down there that you're going to influence the spawns on the other side, rotating over and starting to toss nades and get ready for the other side and just dominating that map essentially. So awesome play from you. I also, there's one thing that I do with all the pro players that I interview, and I take a look at their controller. I was wondering if you could showcase, do you have your controller around? We can take a look and see what kind of controller, and then what is your settings for Halo 5? And then we'll talk about Halo 3 as well.
It's just a regular white scuff controller. I don't play with any paddles in Halo 3. Play bumper jumper. Yeah, play bumper jumper, and that's the controller I use. It's a scuff. You know, I haven't even tried an elite or anything else in Halo 5 or in Halo 3. Oh, I'm actually curious to how that would play out. But yeah, in Halo 5, my settings were honestly, I probably shouldn't have played these settings, I don't think, because I kind of had a struggle like holding the left side of my controller, but I would have an A paddle on the left and an X paddle on the left as well, left side of my scuff. So I'd have two paddles on the left, nothing on the right, for sprinting and thrusting. And I really needed it for like the stabilizing. I was just never a fan of auto stabilizing. I don't know. I kind of like jumping and shooting at people. They didn't see me. I didn't really want to stabilize and zoom in. But yeah, I think there was an advantage in auto stabilizing in Halo 5 sometimes, you know. But yeah, regardless, those are my settings, and you know, it's just kind of what I got used to and never like wanted to get off of. But no, Halo 5 is another beast in all its different settings and all the different things you can play and like actually have it work, because there's just so many different abilities and buttons to press. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, with the settings that you had for Halo 5, I actually agree with that on the left-hand side, like thrust and sprint, that makes sense for me. Like I'm rocking the same type of thing with bumper jumper. And then the right side, that would be, I guess, where you would have switch weapons and reload. But if you're clawing and, you know, or if you can hit those with your thumb, it's not as necessary maybe. But sounds like a pretty sick setup. So overall, I mean, you know, just awesome to see you competing in Halo 3. It's great that we're back with Halo 3. And now we've got a bit of a hiatus, you know, getting over between Halo 3 now and then Halo Infinite. Is there anything, like maybe we'll just say a couple things just to close out the interview here, but any things that you think would need to be in Halo Infinite for esports, like moving forward? Just a couple of things that you think like Halo Infinite would have to succeed.
Good question. You know, 343 started listening and started doing a lot of the things that we need.
I mean, I'm collecting a whole there's just like documented from every single interview. I'm asking like, what are some things you'd like to see in Halo Infinite? And then everybody's, you know, maybe I'll just compare them all together and we'll see what everybody's saying. Yeah.
Well, number one, satisfying gunplay, or just like satisfying gameplay or gunplay, whatever you want to take away from that. You know, just you know, even it's so easy for people in social games to be able to have fun with the gunplay and like Halo 3 and whatnot, even though it's like a little bit harder, you know. That's a tough question, man. We're pretty much going the way we need to, you know, with spectator mode and theater and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully Halo Infinite Online is less, you know, has less variety with like the sensitivity problems and the online problems, the registration and you know, like shots and all that kind of stuff. But I would want to say, I'd want to say to take a step back on the movement for sure, or the abilities and everything combined. I think it was kind of getting too crazy. You know, a lot of the Call of Duty people complained when I forgot what Call of Duty it was, maybe like Advanced Warfare or something, when you could do like the double jump and everyone's just double jumping around like really high up in the air like all the time, like maybe to the right or left. Pretty wild, and I think that kind of took away like the wall run. I don't know if they like the wall running. Like it kind of takes away from like
it got pretty intense.
Adds more randomness, so you can flank around like all these different places. Kind of it's just more random. I think we need just strict like the game needs to be more of like a chess game, and rather than like just a random, you know, bingo game. And as long as we can focus on that, like I think it'll be a good solid game.
Yeah, Yeah, I think really just the biggest thing, and you had already said it earlier, but was just, improving gunplay, making gunplay as satisfying as possible. And sometimes that means that you would have to, pull away from some of the aspects of movement in order to make gunplay as satisfying and as rewarding as possible. So I think whatever they can do to make that work and make that fun. And if that means that they have to, remove some aspects or like tone down some aspects of movement, then that would be how it would have to be. So I think that was a great point that you brought up about gunplay. That needs to be consistent throughout Halo titles. Of course, continuing with everything they have with esports, spectator mode, just keep it going. And hopefully we get an amazing title. Hopefully it comes within the next year or 2 years. Hopefully it's sometime soon. But in the meantime, we're going to have Halo 3. In the meantime, we're going to keep trying to build this hype, build back the community that was once just so, amazing, so dominant back in 2010, 28 or 2008. Yep. So yeah, man, I'm so happy to see you on the grind. And yeah, I think it's possible too. And I mean, you're streaming, you're constantly streaming and building up that following, putting up some awesome clips on Twitter, which I'm going to have to take a closer look at and hopefully break down as well. And, all the other big pros are doing that. So I think that, this is the best time. If there was ever a time for Halo 3 to, for Halo at all, like to just be back on the map, I think this is the biggest moment to grab that and that opportunity and really show the world what Halo 3 is all about. I think this is it. So
I want to say that it's felt like at least that it's bigger than it was a year, 2, 3 years ago. Like the last 3 years, I feel like it's bigger now than it was then. Like no joke. Like we got more consistent viewers on Twitch right now watching Halo 3 than we did watching Halo 5 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago. And that's
it
a
feels
long
like
time
the beginning, like when Halo 5 first came out, like we have a new game or something almost.
Yeah, it does. And that's just the beginning. Like, the word hasn't even spread that much. And I think, it could. Like a lot of people are like, hey, maybe I have to get an Xbox and play Halo 3 again because I miss it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I see it.
I think this first event. Yeah. I think this UGC event is really going to set a hell of a precedent. I think, seeing you there and having a lot of top tier pros competing, some of the biggest teams going up against each other, and then just building tons of awesome content for that event, I think that would set an amazing precedent. So you guys keep grinding, keep picking up, viewers, putting up hype clips, and then we have that awesome event. And hopefully things explode from there. Hopefully we have a massive, thriving Halo community and we build things up for Halo Infinite strong, right? So man, thank you so much for joining me. That covers everything I wanted to talk about today. Where can we find you online?
Well, at MLG Ace on Twitter is right there underneath, and then I have an Instagram at Aaron Ace Elam, and then my Twitch is Ace TV, and I'm streaming pretty much every single night on there, and hopefully streaming during the day as well here soon. I fix the schedule, but yeah. So I'll be on almost every single day doing that. I just want to say, I really want to see Halo 3. I want to see this UGC event be huge. I want to see 50,000 viewers watching the finals at least. I want to see be as big as it can get. I want to, I'm going to do my best to spread the word about the crowdfunding donation link on UGC. I want the prize pool to be as big as possible. I want as many people watching it as possible. I want as many people interested, because I do feel like Halo 3 is a very fun game to watch competitively, like at a LAN tournament. And when it comes down to like the top 6, top 8 teams, like that's interesting. It's something interesting to watch, like on a Sunday, And I mean, I would pay money to watch that, honestly. If I wasn't a pro player, if I wasn't playing, I'd pay money to watch that. It's better than a movie, in my opinion, And I don't know. I think it has the potential to be big, man. Like as long as like everybody in the community does their part, spreads the word, plays, and stays interested, I think we can do it. Because I want to see more events after this. I want to see Halo 3 last for a while. Because really, I think thinking back to like the 2009, 2010, or 2008, 9, and 10 years, they really were a special time in a lot of people's lives. I think that like went to MLGs and stuff like that. Like everybody had fun doing that. Like going to MLGs back then and competing at those tournaments, like 256 teams, like had all the sponsors. Like that was really the golden age of Halo. There's no doubt about it. Like we had Stride, Hot Pockets, Doritos, like all at the same time. Like it's amazing, man. If we can get that again, if we can get the popularity there, then could bring in sponsors and people that want to increase the money in Halo 3 and hopefully something great, and also build our community going into the next Halo, because that's also very important as well. Like Look at Smash. Like, look, that game is how old? Like, there's no excuse, man. The game's so old, and it's
Still playing it,
bigger than ever. Right? It's
Yeah.
probably bigger than ever. At least it was like a year ago. Like,
it's the biggest
could-
Smash
it's
title. I'd say
possible.
it's the most popular. Melee is, yeah.
it's the most.
Yeah,
I'd rather watch Melee than any Smash game if I was at a tournament.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And honestly, I think you have an amazing mindset. I really hope that other pros adopt that mindset. Is just like do whatever you can to push the game that you're passionate about, and to show that support and try to make it as big as possible. Hit 50, 60, 100,000 viewers, whatever we can do to make that explode and put Halo back on the map. I think if other pros like Roy and Snipegun, everybody's adopting that mindset that you have, I really think that it could come back. We could have like a whole resurgence in Halo, and it would be amazing bringing it up to Halo Infinite and having that be a huge title. So man, I love it. Keep on the grind, please.
Let's pray,
Yeah,
man. Let's hope it happens. I really want to see it.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you for coming by. Thank you for talking to me and talking about Halo and the future of this franchise, man. I'm excited to see you on the grind. I'm excited to see you at UGC St. Louis. It's going to be a hype event. It's going to kick off the year, and I'll see you there, man. Have a good night.
You too, man. I want to say thank you very much for having me and putting me on this show, man. Really appreciate it. Have a great night.
No problem, man. See you around. All right, guys, that closes off the interviews for today. Tony, I know I got announcements I got to make. All right, we also have a pass. Like I said, we're giving away a free pass at the end of the show, and it is the end of the show. But yeah, there it is. One more time. Am I doing it right now, or do you want my announcements first? I could do, because there's two things, two amazing individuals I'd like to announce. I was just talking to Ace about how hype this event is going to be, how hype it has to be successful. We got two individuals who are going to bring so much hype to this event. The first one is Lottie, who has been announced to be hosting. There you go. There's Lottie on screen right there. Lottie's been doing amazing things. I hope I get to talk to her on this show because her hosting has been unreal. Like every single one of these events, she's just killing it. She's running it. And it's so nice to have a female on the team as well. There just aren't enough females, just like, powerful females in gaming. And I think she's doing an amazing job there. So Lottie is going to bring us some hype, bring us the show as a host for the UGC event. And the second individual I'd like to announce is Bravo, coming on as a caster. We got the Bravo image right there. Bravo looking awesome. Of course, Bravo being a huge name in Halo. He's been casting all the big Halo events. Coming back for the UGC St. Louis event would be awesome as well. And I hope to have him on the show to give some of his opinions. I think he might be coming by a little closer to the event, so stay tuned for that. But that closes out our two big announcements to look forward to. And of course, lastly, we have the Team Pass. We're going to put up the code. Tony, you got the code? Hope you guys are ready. Get your keyboards out. There you go, Halo 3 VIP. Get yourself over to visit ugcstore.gg, and you can enter this code right now. You got to be quick, guys. If you're watching on Mixer currently, then you might have an advantage, guys. That's one thing I probably should have said at the beginning of the show. Watch it on Mixer, and then you get a little bit of a latency advantage because it happens almost immediately after I talk. It appears on your screen. So anyway, that's the code. That's what you want to type in to get yourself a free pass, and you can enter this tournament. You can be part of the biggest event on in Halo. And this is the biggest thing around coming in 2019, guys. This is what's kicking off the year, and you can be a part of it for free. So go grab that. And then Tony, I see we got a reminder on the qualifiers. The qualifiers for this event, for the UGC 4v4 event, are coming up this weekend on Saturday. So we got Friday, 7 o'clock CST, Saturday, 12 noon CST. You can be a part of the 4v4 single elimination best of 3 qualifiers for UGC St. Louis. So take advantage of these opportunities, guys. Start competing. Get ready for this awesome event. At this point, there's just so much to look forward to, and it's just so nice to be able to talk to everybody and ramp it up to these amazing events going onwards in Halo. At this point, I've taxed myself out, guys. I've tired myself out on these interviews, but thank you so much for joining us on HCS Weekly once again. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week with some more.